They say if you're going to steal from the best. So that's what I'm doing with my book. Stealing from this guy right next to me. When he brought in, and you brought this in earlier, the Teen Titans, you also brought in these new characters. So it's what we're doing with the new Teen Titans right now, is we added 3 new characters of Crush, who is Lobo's daughter, and we also have Roundhouse and Jin. And so bringing 3 new characters in, and then the established characters of Robin, Kid Flash, and Red Arrow, because you always need the basis of that. But we're in a different time now than when Marv wrote his book, and kids are different. And also my kids are a little younger. My kids are more closer to 14, 15 years old, which I have at home, and I can tell you very much have changed since I was 14, 15 years old. I think there's this, you were just saying something, Marv, like how we don't need adults. These kids today are so sophisticated, they think they know better than the adults. And in some cases, they might, these kids are growing up with a much different technological and education and social media and all that stuff. So, for me, it was, the most important thing was that this group, and what I always loved about your book was that they were a family, first and foremost. And what I'm doing is I'm sort of bringing together these kids and having them try to figure out what it means to be all those things. They're all a bunch of loners. So it's like, my wife's a single, she grew up, I grew up with brothers and sisters. She grew up an only child, so like I've always joked with her. I'm like, she's like, why do we have to do that? I'm like, because we have to share. It's about these kids coming together and sort of trying to figure out who they are as a family, and also try to figure out who they are as superheroes and as a team and all those different things. And eventually I do want them to get to the place where they become a family together. But that's really, to me, the most important part of this book is that these kids represent what's going on right now. And, I said this earlier in a panel, I was really blown away when the kids went out and marched over gun violence. I didn't do that as a kid. I didn't know how to do that as a kid. These kids today are super sophisticated and super willing to do things and push things. So my team's a little probably more edgier than past incarnations. Can you say that for me, Brian?
Incarnations?
Thank you, sir.
Incarnations.
I love your voice. But that's also much about who and what's going on right now.
Brian. Well, in Batman and the Outsiders, I'm creating a couple new characters that are going to be in the Outsiders. And I thought a lot about Marv's work because when you're working on a TV show, you're living and breathing all of it, and you have to really become fluent in it and find your own rhythm there. And the best approach I can always make when you're thinking about creating some new characters is just making them as real and authentic to you as you possibly can. And making sure they accomplish something the other characters that exist don't. Right? There's no point in creating another character that's just a carbon copy of the character you've got, because you're just splitting that energy, that focus. But usually it just comes from, I need this energy in this scene. I need this character that will challenge Jefferson Pierce in this way. I need this character that will challenge Batman in this way. And how's that all going to work out? And that's what I kind of saw on Titans. If you look at Gar Logan, for instance, so physically he's a shapeshifter. He can change his form. But there's also part of him, because he comes from a difficult environment, he's used to having to mediate the space around him. You ever talk to a kid who's grown up in a difficult environment? Unfortunately, kids learn very quickly how to calm down adults. It becomes a survival technique. Right? Dad gets mad, bad things happen. Mom gets mad, bad things happen. So they live to keep that from happening. And they will change themselves into whatever they believe they have to be to keep the peace. So you can look at Gar one way, sort of the physical aspects of that and the cool aesthetic aspects of that. But you can also approach the psychological aspects of that. And then it becomes allegorical and it means something. And I've talked to kids, because sometimes I'll talk to kids that are going through difficult things. I used to teach back in the day, and I try to still reach out and do speaking engagements for at-risk kids and that kind of thing. I've talked to some kids about Titans. They know I'm working on the show. And they identify with that aspect of Gar. with the need to have to change. To make yourself a little tough when you need to look tough, and a little friendly and cute. You need to be friendly and cute. So all of these characters, I think, speak to very real things. So when creating a new character, I did really think about what is out there that I see that would be interesting in the story that isn't housed inside of a character that I've got already. Let me create one to, kind of take that space up.
In all the cases of stuff you're working on now, there's the sort of competing, as for all of you, there are mass media versions of these characters, or many of them, that are now the voice. You've got Black Lightning.
Right.
There's a TV show where
there is. It's good.
I mean, Titans. For you, there's a comic book franchise. There's a recent feature film. There's a cartoon series.
Sure.
And I'm just going to get, again, not asking for any betrayals of confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like the live action TV show version is going to be a little different from Teen Titans Go. I get somehow a sense that they're...
Many people have said that it is going to be an amazing experience. I love it very much.
No.
It's, everything... I took you there, right?
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I can do the rest of the interview like this. And maybe everyone gets a bit more comfortable. So, whenever you're working on something, everything plays a part, right? And you definitely want a continuity of experience in the broadest of terms, but you also don't want to just be reflection. And it's hard. It's a delicate balance. In TV, and Adam knows far more about TV than I do, it's a collaboration. You're working with a group of people who all are really trying to execute a vision. And in this case, we were working with Greg Walker, the showrunner, Akiva Goldsman, the producer, showrunner, Oscar winner, Jeff Johns. Everyone knows about Jeff Johns and everything that he's made, the gajillions of dollars and the smiles he's given the world, in comics and in film and TV and all that. So you're incorporating everything. You're paying attention to everything, but you still want to kind of travel your own way. So, for instance, in Detective, when I have Black Lightning in Detective Comics, it's not the Black Lightning of the TV show, because that Black Lightning is a veteran who is returning to form. My Jefferson Pierce is still on the path to realizing what he's going to eventually become, right? So you want to have a sense that my character could become that character you see on television. You don't want them to be radically different. But, it arrives at different points in time. And I think you just have to... I like to absorb everything, take what I believe is useful for the endeavor, and not utilize things that I think are going to make the journey to the Athens I'm trying to get to harder. But yeah, everything sort of plays a part. You have to be humble in this thing.
Yeah, and I also think that these things could all coexist, right? So there's the Teen Titan movie or TV show, and there's the comic book, and there's the cartoon. And what's great about it, and what these guys did such a great job of creating, is a team that can live in all those different mediums. So it could play for your kids, it could play for your teenagers, it can play for adults. Yeah, that's awesome.
No, it's one of the thrills of seeing all these things. It's one of the thrills of seeing all these different versions of the Titans and of characters that George and I did, because it meant that it went beyond what a standard comic book character was. People at different age could find something about these characters that they liked, or they cared about, or they were worried about. And when that happens, it means, at least in my mind, that something right was there from day one. And, you never can predict these things. I've had a tremendous number of successes and a tremendous number of failures with it, with different characters. And nobody can guarantee it's going to be a success. We are so lucky that everybody who has come onto the Titans afterward, whether it's for the cartoon show, both versions of the cartoon show or the movie, or now the live-action show, and certainly the different iterations of the comic, they've all added something that kept those characters alive and interesting. They all took what was there but found new ways of exploring it, and that meant that characters that George and I created in 1980 have relevance today. And that's wonderful. And one person could not have done it. In this case, to use the cliche, it does take a village to create this stuff. And I've been really lucky that so many good people have been able to continue the Titans material and understood it and cared about it and took it in places we never could have. So, that's why I thank you all the time, because it could have been done badly. Instead, it's done well. And you are so grateful that it's done well in a completely different way than we would have done. But it's because you cared, it's because the TV people cared, it's because all the different animation writers actually put together something that was wonderfully charming, and it keeps these characters alive, and I really love that. So, you'll always hear me say good words about these projects, because they are amazing to me that they're still out there.
You set a high bar, my friend.